This is Module 3.1.3, Medical Device and Pharma Convergence. I'm Steve Parenti, and I'm a professor at the Carlson School of Management. So how are devices different from drugs? Well, the FDA generally is the first place that we stop to make that distinction. Drugs are metabolized and devices are not. Size of markets are quite large. Pharma is much bigger. Reimbursement policies are different, so devices are covered by Medicare. Prescription drug coverage is covered by Medicare Part D, but it's not directly paid for the same way that medical devices are. And the consumer is different. For devices, marketing is much more focused to hospitals and physicians. How are they similar? Medical devices similar to drugs. Both are heavily subsidized by the government for research. Both require FDA approval to survive. Government reimbursement policy is a critical factor in their marketing strategy. And both need to make a cost savings at best, or at least a cost effectiveness argument for seeking FDA and insurance reimbursement approval, particularly for insurance reimbursement approval. So one way to sort of think about future for costs is going to be looking at different way things come together. So if we're under the discovery angle and we're talking about promoting an idea, that's where we have essentially the National Institutes of Health for investment. In that case, we have actually things that go off in terms of space, defense, material science. That's pretty exciting. If we're talking about federal policy in terms of distribution, then we have things focused on more hospital side for construction of new hospital beds. That's what the Hilbert money does, or for private insurance, Medicare and Medicaid. If we go for discovery, we try to inhibit what's going on, more of a regulatory body, that's the FDA, or product liability if we're talking about medical malpractice. If we're trying to talk about distributing the use of different technologies, certificate of need, where the hospital needs to be certified, or to be able to expand its hospital beds would be critical. Cost containment and tech assessments work the same. So is convergence coming between these two industries? Basically, I think convergence actually is quite likely. It's the same regulators, and in some cases they actually share staffs. They're soon to have the same insurance revenues, in the sense of private insurance revenues and maybe some risk-based insurance revenues. Medical devices are starting to look at this metabolizing threshold, less the drug-eluting stent. And if drugs need devices for success, then that could actually take it even further. And finally, pharma R&D pipeline has some issues, but device-enabled drugs, vice versa, we're in a new product line. The limitations, though, is that this may encourage less innovation within possible, and there could be possible reduction of small firms that are able to fund FDA trials. And another point is that new technologies can make old approaches extinct and capitalize both technologies. So, for example, genomic research or powerful gene therapy and personalized medicine can basically take out the need for implantable devices if done properly. The benefits of convergence is that pharmaceutical benefit managers, that is the PBMs, have national IT infrastructure data to make, say, the Medtronic case that was talked about in the first coursework, where everything is electronically enabled. And there'd be a more balanced approach to FDA and cost effectiveness requirements than what we have now, where the device sector is kind of much more geared toward a 510K process. And it can also mitigate any sort of pending pharma bubble if there's too much investment in the space. This concludes Module 3.1.3.